Well, step aside football. Opening weekend for the Sacramento Kings came to an exciting conclusion tonight as the Kings hosted their longtime rivals, the Los Angeles Lakers, for some Sunday NBA action. And let's just say this ticket was definitely worth the price of admission. Another sellout crowd at Golden One Center as the Kings welcome in King James and his signature chalk toss. Now, believe it or not, it was on this day 20 years ago when LeBron made his NBA debut right here in Sacramento, even though it was at Arco Arena back then. And De'Aaron Fox came out hotter than a crock pot. Fox led both teams with 21 points at the half. He ended with the game-high 37 points. However, he would go down in the fourth quarter with what appeared to be an ankle injury, but he did return to the game. Meanwhile, that man LeBron ages like Benjamin Button. The soon-to-be 39-year-old had 27 points, 15 rebounds. He came up 2 assists short of a triple-double. I mean, this man simply defies age. Now, after having a double-digit lead early, the Kings would be outscored by the Lakers 60-49 in the second half. We go to overtime, and with Domantas Sabonis fouling out and De'Aaron banged up, the Kings looking for a hero in overtime, and Malik Monk said, "I got your back, homie." Monk straight filthy in the overtime period, scoring 11 points in the frame. He had 22 points on the night. Now, with less than a minute remaining in the overtime period, Kevin Huerter right there telling the crowd, "Y'all ain't got to go home, but it's time to bounce the heck out of here." Huerter, who has been struggling lately, nails the dagger. Looks like Red Velvet got his swagger back. Just 12 points on the night for Huerter, but none bigger than those three. The Sacramento Kings defeat the Lakers 132-127 in overtime. Sacramento moves to 2-1 on the season. Now let's hear from the man of the hour after the game.
Yeah, well, you could probably see the expression on my face. It's really not a secret. You'll definitely just find my rhythm. Preseason, still doing that. First couple games, obviously just a little off offensively. But tonight, obviously, it was that last one. Small victory is what you look for in a long season. It was definitely a small victory.
Well, I'll tell you this, Matt. It is great to see Kevin Huerter get a little more confidence, and especially coming off of his early season struggles. At any rate, Matt, while we were both in Golden One Center tonight, I heard a silence, a pin dropping, which is rare in Golden One Center, when De'Aaron Fox went down with that injury in the fourth quarter. He did come back, as we saw a little bit, but stayed out for the most of the overtime period. How did the Sacramento Kings go forward and handle this injury with Fox?
Well, we don't have an update yet on Fox's status, and hopefully we'll get one soon. Hopefully it is good news. Now, the good news is the Kings do have 2 days off before their next game. The bad news is that next game is in San Francisco against the Golden State Warriors again. Yeah, it seems like they play them every other day. But Fox would be desperately missed if he is not available for that game. But also, you're at a period of time where you're game or 3 games into the season, right? The Kings are thinking long-term. The Kings are even thinking championship potentially. This is where you got to kind of protect your guys from themselves a little bit, because De'Aaron Fox was not supposed to play in overtime, was not supposed to come back after hurting that ankle injury, and he kind of ignored the coaches and just said, "Put me back in." Now, Fox is a gamer. He's an amazing player at that, so we can respect that and appreciate that, but also, again, you got to protect against that a little bit. How do the Sacramento Kings overcome a De'Aaron Fox injury? A lot easier said than done, but it requires kind of what we got tonight in overtime. Everybody kind of has to step up and play their part. Malik Monk did an excellent job of that tonight. Also, Kevin Huerter stepped up big, but it's a next man up mentality. The good news is the Sacramento Kings have a lot of depth. So a guy like Fox is never easy to replace, but hopefully guys can at least make that a little bit easier. Let's just say that.
And I was going to say, when you have a bench as deep as the Kings, that does make it easier. And think about it. We haven't even seen Trey Lyles back in action. He's going to have to earn a spot with this rotation just because of the depth that the Sacramento Kings have. And when you have Malik Monk going off for 11 points in overtime, who needs fourth quarter Fox when you have overtime Monk?
Right.
Now, with that being said, Matt, I know we just got a small sample size of the Kings so far. It's just 3 games into the season. But what particularly has stood out to you during these first few games of the season?
Yeah, there's been a lot that's really jumped off the table with this Kings team. But to me, I want to point at some of the guys that we didn't know too much about, or that we weren't sure what they were coming off the bench. And in particular, like Sasha Vezenkov, I think has really impressed me. Now, we knew what he was on the offensive side of the ball, right? We know he's a shooter. But defensively, there were questions about him all preseason long to where it got to a point that we didn't know if he was going to crack the rotation, period. Now, the Trey Lyles injury actually kind of played in his favor, but really over these 3 games, I thought he's actually been pretty solid defensively, including the game in Utah. He had a couple really good defensive possessions against quicker guards. He even had a possession tonight where LeBron James went one-on-one with him, tried to back him down. He did as best as he could, which is just stand his ground, stick his hands up, make it as difficult for LeBron as possible. LeBron ended up missing the shot. That's really all you can ask for from Sasha in that sense. So the Kings are getting different inputs or different they're getting help from different guys on the roster, not just De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, and that suits up well for long-term success.
Well, yeah, I know the big question mark coming into this season was the 3-time EuroLeague MVP. How would he stack up here in Sasha Vezenkov? But so far, Matt, I've been pretty impressed with him. I know it's a small sample size, but if you can get Sasha to where you want him to be, then that's a heck of a spark coming off the bench there.
Right.